Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Streets is where we talk about what's going on in these streets. You know
What's
what I'm
going on?
saying?
Right.
Whether it be pop culture or, you know, a really important news thing. We talk about some heavier topics. We talk about some lighter topics. We talk about politics. We're not afraid of anything.
We
So
got
don't come for us.
That's right.
We have two tea in the streets today. First one is going to be an update on the Diddy situation.
Oh, Lord.
Because you know that is
Hide your baby oil.
hide your kids, hide your wives, and hide your husband too, because they're getting everybody out.
Yes.
Go ahead and play that video, Aaron.
I think our minds will be blown when the full Diddy story comes out. In recent days, 3,000 individuals have come forward with accusations against Diddy. Of those, 120 are claiming sexual assault over the past 3 decades. 25 of those accusers were minors, and ready for this? One of them was 9 years old when he says the alleged abuse took place. Now, the attorney representing all the sexual assault victims, his name is Tony Busby, he says, quote, they have pictures, video, text, and would expose many powerful people and their many dirty secrets. Speaking about all the A-listers who participated in this abuse, he said, quote, it's a long list already, but because of the nature of the case, we are going to make sure, damn sure, we get it right. These names will shock you. Of course, Diddy is denying every allegation, and his attorney says that he can't wait to get on the stand and tell his side of the story. Diddy was arrested on September 16th, remains in jail, and was arrested on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Well, I think there's a lot to be said there.
We ain't got no time.
We don't have enough time.
Listen,
But
we ain't got enough time.
I do want to say, well, since it's men of steel, I'm going to turn the table over to you guys. Since I would like to hear you guys' perspective on the alleged abuse that have taken place toward women and children.
I know we got to say alleged.
Alleged.
You got to say alleged.
I did say alleged,
Yeah.
and we put our disclaimer up there.
Yeah.
So jump in there. What do you have to say, Adonis, since you're holding your brain?
So for me, it is it's a travesty because of the work, in a sense, or the impact that Sean Combs has had on the culture. I'm 36. Some of the earliest memories that I have is of rap, the East Coast, West Coast rivalries, these stories of what Diddy was doing at Howard with Biggie, the parties, so on and so forth. And then just him being a part of my, like, there's not a point in time in my life that I can recall where either Bad Boy wasn't popular or Diddy wasn't an executive in some capacity.
Right.
Business, all this other stuff. All that being said, if what they said is true, they need to put him underneath the jail.
Yes.
Because we saw the video of what took place, right? Because allegedly, you know, we saw the video that took place with him and Cassie when she was trying to escape and flee, and he did everything that he did to her.
Well, if you don't mind, I appreciate you bringing that up. That part right there, for me, when it was coming out before they saw the tapes, it was all not true. She was just trying to extort. Take his money, allegedly.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Cassie because she's been on my top 5 for a very long time. Okay, so she said, "Yeah, he did it." Look, I'm not the one that's thinking she's trying to make it come up. No,
exactly. So I had a problem with. I have a problem with people. The first thing that people want to say, and I know that there are some people out there that will just lie, but a woman has to always be looked upon as if they're lying when they come and say that someone did something. So when the tapes come out and she did it, now, It was true. Well, why y'all couldn't believe her in the beginning?
You know, I think there is an unfair amount of a burden of proof that is expected for the victim in those situations, because it happens to men too.
Yes.
Amen.
And
In the
the victim tends to not come forward because of the amount of proof that has to be provided for them to be validated in a sense. And if any woman feels as if they've been violated, to me, I don't think it is the world's responsibility to, oh no, you just trying to come up. Like,
Exactly.
let's have a conversation. Okay, well, so what happened?
Because for her to be able to, for a person to come out and put themselves out there that have been victimized, that in itself is
courageous.
Is huge. Exactly. You know, and then who are we to sit there and pass judgment on that person? To let it go through the courts. But
my deal is just having a problem with hundreds that come in afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden, I've been. Me too.
Well, I think sometimes I don't have a problem with that. I get what you're saying.
I do have a problem with that. But there's hundreds of y'all out there. Nobody said nothing until this one person came out and said something.
Nobody wants to be the first one because it's too high risk.
People are not always bold enough to be able to stand up and take that hit on their own. So sometimes they need somebody to get up there and do it for them.
With this one, it's different because of what they charged him with.
Yeah.
When you add racketeering, when you add all these other things into it, it's not just the domestic violence, the abuse, the trafficking.
Yes.
This is a system that they are alleging has been created and crafted to maintain this type of environment.
But you know he didn't do it by himself.
Again, there's a system that is in place.
Yes.
And Brother Carter, to your point, I understand exactly what you mean when you say what you say, even though it may fall on certain people's ears the wrong way. Right. I know where your intention is when you say this.
Thank you, sir.
The system that is created supports individuals being quiet because they understand that if they do say something, whether I'm person number 1 or person number 100,
we coming for you.
Right. There's a system that is set up to demonize, abuse, probably mess me up in the system that I am trying to work or navigate in. Because if you are an entertainer and Diddy makes a call,
it's over.
Just with the connections that he has, not even with his own system, but if he says something to the right person, you're not working.
Right.
So
you might be dead.
You might, yes, JB, you might be dead.
Yeah.
He also had like
unalive, what we say on this show.
Unalive. My apologies.
Well, he also like, even regardless of the power in terms of like someone's work or livelihood or career or whatever, he also like had quite literally like blackmail. He would like get these people in vulnerable positions with drugs or whatever
and
substance record them and say, if you don't do XYZ for me, you know. So there were other people involved, and should they be disciplined? Of course, because but it is, I hesitate to, like, Diddy's the person who like organized all of this, right? Like there's always a top dog. And then when it comes to like other victims coming forward, there are power in numbers, and it's such a vulnerable place to be in to talk about that. Think about, most people don't even like talking about their consensual private lives.
Right.
So when something happens to you unconsensually, is that the word? I don't know. Non-consensually.
You're on the right path.
Yeah, there you go. If something happens to you without your consent, that's even harder to come forward about. But I do think to see one person do it, who, especially when it's the same perpetrator, it gives you a sense of power to come forward and say, you know what, that happened to me too.
Right.
And I hesitate to, like, I'm the type of person, if someone says something happened to them, I believe them. Are there people that lie? 100%. I've seen cases of people lying, but a fraction of something isn't going to make me discount every victim's experience, because I know how hard it is to come forward and talk about that.
That really is something, like, I don't know, like, legitimate question. Has it always been like this, or did we just at some point in our history go from being able to take people at their word when something goes on?
The challenge is, one, I think there's an underlining environment where this has been like that, where things like this have taken place. We just have not had the access because of social media and the internet.
100%.
That's number one. Number two, there have been cases of individuals who have been found to be lying about what took place.
Right. And what I mean more is like the general sense, right? So like obviously like if anyone, claims anything, take it to court, go through its process, right? But kind of like where Abby said, it's like generally, just in a general sense, when people say something happened, even if it's not quite to the degree something did happen, right? And my question is more about the idea of, okay, we said something happened, but I'm gonna question every single tiny step and be like, are you sure? Like my first case is to say no. So it's like, has it always been like that general sense of just know you're wrong?
Depend on who you saying it.
So
Do you have some thoughts on that?
Well, legally, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Like by law.
Well, that's what
Right.
you should do. That depends on who that is, because it's a different.
Right. That's true.
Over here, it's different. You're
That's true.
guilty until you prove yourself innocent. JB, you have something to add to that?
Yeah. I think you got an answer to that directly. You have to look at who controls the flow of information. And historically, that has always been men. Men control media outlets. Up until social media, everything went through a man.
Yes.
And men are also the perpetrators in 100% of these cases.
Yes.
And it's in our best interest to control the culture and create a culture of doubt when a second-class citizen like a woman makes an allegation against a leader like a man. And we put all of this shadow of guilt and doubt on the woman to protect ourselves because we don't want to jeopardize this Sean Combs situation that every powerful man seems to have created for himself. When you look at Me Too outed so many successful, powerful men. Like, I got to wonder, can you have $100 million in the bank and not be an a-hole? Like, I don't even know if it's possible. I'd like to try, but I don't know if it's possible.
He was listed as a billionaire.
And trust and believe, Hollywood party's been taking place forever. And these types of activities have been taking place.
We're finding out more and more.
Yes.
R. Kelly, Epstein, Weinstein, whichever one of them.
Just think about it, and we're going to move on from this one.
Before you move on that, I want to add this also. You don't have to drink of the cup, because I hear that Diddy asked you to drink out of the cup. He gave you the opportunity to say yes or no. And the ones that said yes to drinking out of the cup were the ones that were violated. There were many others that said no. And they left the party. So just want to put that out there.
The last thing, because that was good. The last thing I said, I know we needed to transition. She mentioned this in the video the clip that you played. There's an alleged list of individuals, and there have been some big names that have been attached to these parties. The thing that I want to see, because Denzel Washington has a clip that is famous that says, "You always leave 30 minutes before the devil shows up." I want to know who left before the devil showed up, and I want to know who stayed.
Hey, it's gonna come out.
Because being there alone isn't incriminating, but I want to know what Justin
say. I like this. 30 minutes before the devil shows up.
I got to go. I got to go.
Justin, you had something that you want to say before we move on.
Well, I think that especially in the case of young women who manage to find themselves in a world, or say in a room full of powerful guys like that have a lot of money and a lot of influence, they might make a yes or no call, but I think they have less control over that situation than it might seem from the outside. Like that's a really hard position to be in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I just want to put this disclaimer out there. I'm not condoning nothing that happened at these parties. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just stating what happened, the opportunities that were there.
Whether at this party or any other party, there are decisions there that you have to make, and you have to make the call to make the decision that is going to be in your best interest in the long run. So that's the most.
And on a final note, I know Sean Combs is the head of this thing right now, but they never get to the head of really what
I can assure
in charge of.
I can assure you that
somebody said here.
I can assure you he's not the head. He was
Yeah.
just someone.
He's the
put
face of it.
He's the face of it. You want to
So
go?
that's what
Let's
Rod
take some of the comments
Garrett
that's in
said.
here.
He said, go ahead and pull that up, Aaron. He said, in my opinion, Diddy is not the top dog.
Right.
Think about it. Homeland Security raided his home several weeks prior to his arrest. He probably has secrets of very high profile individuals, which is a good point.
Yes.
They're like,
Yeah.
we'll probably never find the top dog because they're that good and sneaky.
Well, I
Well,
think
no,
they
'cause-
know.
No,
I
'cause
think
it's
So
they know.
here's the
high
thing.
powerful.
You have to look at the charges again.
Yes.
And I'm not a lawyer, but my wife and I, we like to watch, some criminal stuff.
So
but-
you're certified with that. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're one of
Um,
those unofficial.
But
Bar
anytime
University.
anytime there is a case that's similar to this, they either have already lined up a group of individuals and they are loading all this on Diddy,
Mm-hmm.
or they have selected Diddy and they trying to populate
Yeah.
this list.
Yes.
I don't know which one they're gonna go with first, or
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's typically how it has taken place.
It depends on who's at the top of that
And who
list
gonna talk
when they
first.
gonna
Who's
cut it
talk
off.
first? And what's going to happen to the individual at the top of the list. So I'm just going to leave that there. We're going to go to the next one.
Mm.
Oh, you got
Okay.
something else? You got
We'll
a few
just
more
read one more comment and then we'll
Sure.
do the next tea in the streets.
Go
Anna
ahead.
said, it's time for the entertainment industry to be properly exposed, especially these producers, directors who continue to abuse innocence and will of people who are just looking to better their lives. Exactly.
Yes. 100%,
They're taking
Anna.
people who are willing to do anything
Mhm.
and making them do anything. And that's
And I
a
think
shame.
people also need to go back and really stop with this thing of I need fame so bad that I'm willing to do anything. You need to have some self-respect for yourself. Some things you just have to say, no, I'm not willing to. It's not an option. I'm not doing this,
Yeah.
for the money, because sooner or later, people are going to look at you and say, I'm through using you. You're no
not
more
good for me
You're not good
anymore.
for me.
But it's not just in the entertainment
It's
industry.
in
Right.
everything. That
It's in
everything you do.
think about any career
Yes.
that you may have had, and if you've been in leadership, being in leadership, you see how individuals can manipulate
Yes.
their direct reports, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Whether it be because of overtime, having individuals come in and do excessive amounts of work and just give them a pat on the back or some
Yes.
chip the donuts and say,
Yes.
hey, pretty, like,
We appreciate
Mhm.
it.
and then weeks or months later, we've replaced that person with somebody else who's willing to do more for less. Like,
Yes.
it's the same fundamental
Mhm.
system. The only difference is we've attached entertainment to this, and now we have drugs and sex associated with it as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
also a
abuse
career.
is the same.
You got an 18-year-old girl that has a shot at making it in the music industry. If she gets hooked up with these people, she's
Yeah.
going to do
Yeah.
a lot to get that job.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And then she doesn't ever get the job.
She never gets
Yeah.
the job. Okay.
So we have about 12 minutes. Do you want to do the other two
Yes,
streets?
let's do the other one real quick.
We got some more tea.
Really?
We got one more. We got
One
some
more.
more.
Just chamomile or just
This will be the
peppermint?
quick one. Go ahead.
We're doing DUI checkpoint and driver's license check tonight.
Identify yourself, please.
I'm Deputy Hess with the Sheriff's Office.
Badge number.
4920.
Is your body cam rolling?
I can turn it on if you like.
Thank you.
Yep. Just want to see your driver's license real quick.
Before we proceed, I want to inform you that I don't consent to any searches or seizures. I'm also, under the advice of my attorney, not going to answer any questions without my lawyer present.
Understood. You got anything to drink tonight? All right, sir. Have a good night.
Now,
That's white privilege right there in action.
the reason I chose and asked Abigail to put this one up is that I really
You
wanted,
and Abigail always up to some shiggity.
I wanted you guys to really see the difference. Just think about how this year they were having a what do they call it? A roadblock where they were doing DUI testing.
Mhm.
This gentleman was clearly drunk. Actually had a drink in his car. So he knew, he came and gave all the rights.
He knew his right.
He said about you can know yours too. Would that go like that for you guys? I just want to
No.
No
Okay,
way.
go ahead.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well,
Wouldn't happen.
okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna start with Justin because y'all over here just
Justin
know.
already said it.
Justin,
You might not have caught it, but he said it was the
tell
clip was
me-
over with.
Give us some feedback on that video that you just seen.
That is 1,000% white privilege.
There you
'Cause
go.
You put 10 people in that exact same situation, and 5 of them are black and 5 of them are white. You're going to have 50% completely different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
The white guys are going to drive away. The black guys are going to get dragged out of the car, and 2 of them are probably going to die.
Right out of it.
We saw what happened to Tyreek Hill.
Well, and I've actually, so I said earlier in the show that I like watching like cop stuff, dash cam, what's it called? Whatever the body cam footage. I'm like weirdly obsessed with it. And there have been people who, people of color who have said that same thing. I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. And every video I've seen of that, the cop keeps pestering, keeps asking. This guy asked one question, said, "Oh, you're not going to answer me," and kept it pushing.
Yes.
But I've seen it with people of color, like Hispanic people, black people. Yeah, I saw it, and the same thing. They were very much like, "I don't answer questions," and the cop kept asking him questions. He said, "I don't answer questions. I won't answer any of your questions," and they kept pushing, and they even brought another cop out. So, I mean, obviously, I don't have a lived-in experience of that, but just based off of like the content that I consume that's like this, it is a very different experience for someone who isn't white.
And I thank you. And I wanted to bring that up because it goes right back into my soapbox that I've been on. And if we don't vote, we already have one out there that's clearly saying that he wants to give officers the authority to rough them up, and to be a little tougher on those so-called criminals. So I just want us to think about what we're doing now. I'm not saying who to vote for or who not to vote for.
Yes,
Just
you
vote for where I am.
I will.
JB said, I will.
She said, "I got my 2 cents, but please do your job."
There you go. So, okay, AD, before we move, he's sitting over here, he's ready. I could just see you. What, AD?
No, it's like
Hit the people, go ahead.
Abby said it. JB said it. Like it is interesting to see someone who doesn't look like you go through a situation and the outcome is going to be different if you were in that same scenario. There have been countless times where I have been pulled over, not given a ticket, but pulled over and questioned, taken out of my vehicle to await, verification of something. I will say that this individual appeared to be very knowledgeable about this process, which is something that I can't necessarily say for individuals who look like me most of the time. And his confidence in the things that he knew allowed him to carry himself in a certain way. He wasn't disrespectful. He made it very clear, what's your name? What's your badge? Is your body cam on? Okay, you need to cut that on if we're gonna have a and I respect that 100%. I just wish that more of us were educated enough to understand the concept of that. 2, I also wish that we didn't have to live in an environment where that was a conversation that I have to have with my sons, or Brother Harper, Brother Carter. I know you had with your son. I just feel like that's something that we shouldn't have to deal with.
It's different though.
The reality is we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That guy doesn't have the same consequences that you have. He is not going to get pulled out of the car and get shot. It is not going to happen.
It's not going to
That
happen.
is not true for you.
But that's happened too.
100%. 100%. So again,